Call this meeting to order.
Culpepper,
Here.
Redline,
Here.
Rotabeck,
Here.
Newcastle,
Here.
Nichols,
Here.
Judd, here, Geisler. Here.
If you will stand with me for a moment of silence for our service folks and also the pledge of allegiance, and I will lead that tonight. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. I would ask that if you have a phone, just please put it on silent mode. And we will move from there into public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that does not appear on the agenda that has something they'd like to say to council? Ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you. I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Madhu Anderson. I'm a candidate for the state senate in this district, which is District 28. Many people are not familiar with it, but it includes all of Shiawassee County, all of Clinton, almost all of Shiawassee County, almost all of Clinton County, and northern Ingham County. My priorities are that I'd like to make sure that we run the state well, financially manage it well, so that we can lower the tax burden on our residents. I'd also like to make sure that we bring more parental choice into our education system, or more parental control, really, and make sure that we, we continue to give back to our communities. So I'm running in the Republican primary. There's a primary in the election is August 2nd. So I'd be happy to answer any questions afterwards. But just wanted to introduce myself and say, well,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Friedenberg.
Terry Freyberg. I'm the president of the Langford Lions Club. Couple things that I wanted to bring forward this year to our club. I've had a couple people from the Boy Scouts, i.e. Greg Beavers, and also the baseball. I'm not sure what my son Doug Adams, but he's a coach and everything else. Both of them were looking for storage facilities, and a couple things I would like to see our Lions Club do this year is, number one, the sliding door that's out there in the pole barn, possibly replace that with an overhead. Makes it easier with all this snow in the wintertime, getting in and out of there. We put up ramps for, the community. We have another ramp that one of our members thinks will be given to us. So the area is tight out there already with Boy Scouts, the flags, all of our stuff, and so on. And getting into that, like I say, an overhead door I think would work exceptionally well out there. I have not presented it to the Lions Club at all. So just letting you know, and DPW, what I would like to see us help the city as a whole, and then also possibly expanding to the south, an addition, if possible. Again, this is just entry level. We haven't done anything. We want to talk to you guys first, see if it's even feasible. I know there's room out there behind the dumpster. I've kind of paced it off just because I've been out there quite a bit. But a couple things that I would personally like to see our Lions Club help. Again, it will benefit the Boy Scouts, it will benefit baseball, because I know they're looking at possibly getting a shed or something. This would be a more permanent structure. We just re-roofed the pole barn out there, I think 3 years ago. So it stood for a long time, but with that sliding door, and the overhead is not going to eliminate all animals getting in there, but a slack or an overhead door will make it a lot tighter. We would have to do something with the electrical, because we would need power to the overhead constantly, you know, for the keypad on the outside and so on. So, but a couple things that I wanted to make sure. I started here first, so if you could think about that. I will be taking it to our board. I'm not possibly in 2 weeks. So again, I'm just throwing it out there to our board, okay? But I wanted to bring it to the city council first. So, and then any contact, give me a holler.
Are the Lions covering all of the expenses?
Oh, yes, we would take care of that.
So you just need a building permit from the city.
Again, I don't know, I'm not, I don't live in the city, so whatever the restrictions are that we would need to do, you know, and again,
Yeah.
this hasn't been presented to the Lions Club board, and I may get shot down. I don't know, but like I say, I have both of those entities coming to me asking for space. That's also would be a good space to put the flags for the city. And obviously, we would have a different overhead door for that area along with the service door.
So you're just trying to open up the dialogue at this point
Yes,
and figure out what the city would need.
from us, and then we would go, I'm sorry, I'll shut up, you talk and ask me the question.
No, but I think that's what you're going for. It's like an open dialogue. This is your thoughts that you want to kind of look into this project.
I don't even know how wide the building is, but I think we could get at least an additional 20 to 24 feet, maybe to the south. Maybe, again, I'm just throwing figures out there. I don't know how wide that pole barn is right now.
I would suggest that you work with David and present to your club what they're willing to do or not do, and work through David, and then bring back your discussion as you present it if it passes, and present it to council, or David can as a project coming on, and so forth and so on. I think that would be the easiest way to present it. You've started out the dialogue. Everyone here knows what you'd like to do this year. So it's really up to your club to make that
Correct.
decision now. So let's leave it at that.
Mhm.
And you guys coordinate through David on what you need to do and the specs that you need to find out. And then we will revisit this when you guys are ready, if it happens. Does
Okay,
that sound right?
Just to let you know, I do have a quote already for a new overhead door for the barn as it sits today. Local business, Gabbard overhead door. Already contacted them. They did some work for me. I said, hey, would you mind taking 15 minutes, go out with me to the pole barn? He's already measured it up. I've got a quote. I will present that to our board, because obviously that's going to be a smaller dollar amount than adding on to that pole barn. And it'll stay the same. Shingle roof, metal sides, cement floor, you know, the whole works. But I know it's going to cost money, so it's just a project in its infancy.
Aren't we about to run into some garage doors?
Oh,
Lots of them?
yes.
I'm not really sure because we're half owners in that situation, so.
But there is a possibility.
There's a lot of garage doors.
They're
about
Need to get
set.
rid of. Huh?
They're about set.
They are.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? We shall move on to the approval of minutes of June 6, 2022.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of June 6, 2022. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. Motion carried to approve the minutes. And number 2 is the treasurer's report.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye. Motion carried to approve treasurer's report. Items of business. Approval of the 2022-23 DDA budget. You should have that in front of you or in your packet. It's a presentation of.
We handed it up and then it's a.
There's something
got it.
here, there's one here.
Still looking at,
The one that doesn't have it.
We should all have it.
numbers changed a little bit on it.
One in your packet was the preliminary one, and then we got the other one later.
Basically, just need a motion to accept their budget. So
Second.
motion and second to approve the budget of the DDA. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by aye.
Yes.
Okay. Appoint Kate Hall to the library board. It's the next item on the agenda.
Make motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? You see she's got several resumes or pages of letters in the sense in the packet of her experiences and such.
She came to our last meeting and she seems very positive. So we thought her she was enjoying story time at the program. So,
Definitely sounds very energetic.
she was very positive.
Just tell them we're over the agenda. He needs an agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, did we not? We had some discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by aye.
And it. Keep on now.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is consider SATA funding request for 23-24. As I was reading through this, the numbers look big, but everything says it was less than what we approved last year.
They're asking for commitment for 4,191.23. Our commitment last year was right around that, and it came in at 3,076. So
There's about $1,100, $1,200 different savings.
it was 1,672.84 last this year than we committed.
So they're asking us for the commitment of the 4,191.23, and as well as in the past, it's very well to be less than that, but you can't be sure of that.
I make motion.
I'll second the motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to consider the SATA funding request for 2023-2024. Is there other discussion?
You know, I just don't like it when they don't show up and they're asking for $44,191. I'm not gonna make them come here like I always do every year and explain the percentage of ridership, how many
It's all
rides
in those
per month. Yeah,
reports.
I know. But to have them explain it and come here, if they're gonna ask for money, at least they should ask for it in person. That's my only beef. Am I gonna vote yes? But I won't be around next term, so somebody keep an eye on it.
All right. Any other discussion?
Redline,
Yes.
Rohrbach,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Judge. Yes. Geisler.
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Funding request for CAT SATA approved. Item number 6 is approved resolution 2211, intent to issue bonds.
And Mr. Krasinski's here to fill us in.
And I thought you would come there to me.
Good evening. You have a resolution that was prepared by your bond counsel, North Canfield, Paddock and Stone, which starts the process for the bonding. In discussions with your clerk treasurer, we decided that the number that we should adopt in this resolution is 3.5 million for road improvements, sidewalks, parking lots, and related site improvements. This will allow you to issue bonds in one or more series. The intent right now is to issue $1 million this year for your projects, and then come back 2 or 3 years from now and issue additional debt. It does not commit you to issuing any debt at this point. It starts the process. Unlike what you've done in the past, these bonds are not going to be voted. There's no ballot referendum required. However, there is a right of referendum required that allows the residents to bring a petition to the clerk's office within 45 days of the last page of this resolution being published in a quarter-page ad of general circulation in the city. If 10% of the registered voters bring a petition to the clerk's office within 45 days from the date of publication, the city would either have to abandon the project or vote the project. If there's no petition brought, then the city can move forward and issue bonds. However, and I stress this, I know I've repeated it, it does not commit you to doing any bonds at this point. The next step, or the next steps, excuse me, would be to have construction bids in hand for the projects that you want to finance, so that we know the cost. We would determine the amount of bonds that would be issued. This city council would have a bond authorizing resolution, which would define the terms and the specifications of the bonds, which would kind of be the last step, but you are not committed to doing anything. This is just the first step in the process. If for some reason federal government, the state of Michigan came down and gave a whole bunch of money for roads and sidewalks, you would not have to issue that. If you didn't want to.
But if we're already into the first issuance, then federal government comes in with a bunch of money, are we obligated to the 3.5?
No, sir. No. This, the best way I can explain it is this kind of like, it's not a credit card. It's like a credit limit. Okay? It's not a credit card, but it says you can issue up to 3.5 million without a vote if you don't have a petition within 45 days.
It's kind of like a line of credit. We're not locked into any
It's
percent.
not a line of credit because you don't have financing.
Okay.
The next step, as I said, would be for this board, this council, to adopt a bond authorizing resolution. There's nothing that can be done with this other than keep moving on using the next steps.
So this just lets me put an ad in the paper, and then people get a chance to know what we're doing, and if they have a complaint, then they bring it to us, and then at that point, you guys decide whether you want to move forward, and or we get the 10% or whatever. So, and the 3,500 came from our capital improvement plan that you guys approved. So that would be us being able to fulfill that entire thing if some miracle happened.
But rather than rerun the ad and incur that cost and come back and do it again, we just figured we'd give you this limit at this point. The limit pretty much stays out there until you issue 3.5 million. So if you issue 1 million and then 4 years from now, you say, I want to issue another million, you still have 2.5 million to issue. You wouldn't have to do this process. You wouldn't have to publish it.
Terms of the debt service stay the same.
What do you mean by that, sir?
I mean, if we borrow $1 million and then we don't need 2.5, the terms of the servicing that debt of $1 million, does that change a payment or?
No.
Okay,
When we sell the bonds, which would be sometime in the future, that is when your payments are determined. Your interest rate is
Okay.
determined.
depending on the bond interest rate.
Right.
Okay.
It's not, and then those terms are fixed at that point for that $1 million.
Got it.
So there's,
Then, go ahead, good.
there's no time limit of using it. you're
This
saying.
does
Once
not
it-
expire. Now, if you say we're abandoning our capital improvement plan, we're not going to do anything, one could argue that this goes away. But
Because I started out by telling him, where we thought we could be for a payment. And then I thought we'd issue a second one, and he said, well, why don't you, what are you trying to do? And I said, well, we have this capital improvement plan with the streets, the sidewalks. And so if we pass this based on that, then once we determine this is what we're gonna do, we can get, okay, now this is the list of streets we're gonna do, or this is the parking lot, or these are the sidewalks, up to whatever dollar amount you guys settle on. But what this does is allow us to fund that capital improvement plan. If for some miracle that we could find enough funds to be able to do it.
Now, if you change your capital improvement plan and you throw in there a fire station or community center, that is not covered under this. So we're only talking, if you look at the first whereas, to acquire, construct, furnish, and equip various capital improvements consisting generally of road improvements, sidewalks, parking lots.
So it's very specific.
So
We
you
can't spend the money on something else.
right, you can't build a new fire station
Dan.
or a police
We can
station.
try.
Or a
So,
police
and
station.
and I think, I wouldn't call it a sales pitch, but I think what the public needs to understand is that for years, we have been making a bond payment. We no longer have that bond payment. And so why not go out and borrow more money and improve our capital improvement plan? Because we just retired debt. So let's go out and get some more and we'll keep paying for it.
I think that what, everyone needs to understand is that we get about $30,000 in tax revenue. A year. Our taxable value is 30 million. So we, that isn't enough. And when we get that money off of 1 mil, we get about 30,000 off 1 mil. So that's not enough money to complete a project, but it's enough money to make a payment to complete a project. Otherwise, we would be 20 years trying to save the money to do Grand River Road. But if we borrow the money, we can get the project done and pay it back. And that's how we've got the work done that we've gotten done thus
Well,
far.
just saying, the city can't afford that. Well, yes, we can because we just retired
Yeah.
some debt on a bond issue that we've had for 10 years. And now we have that available capital to go out and borrow more or borrow again, not more, borrow again and continue with the improvements.
Consider the work on the city. It's a continuous process.
I was telling you, they got 45 days. And then it goes to referendum. So if you guys get hit with anything within 45 days, which is only 1 meeting and a half away, that if you choose, that can be some rationale for it. We just retired some debt. We're going to go out and borrow again to continue to improve.
He's here
All I
to
got.
answer your guys' questions and we've been working together for 20 years.
Yes.
Well, we got 45 days and we'll see you again.
Or not. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to issue the bonds. Any other discussion? Discussion? How would you do?
I certainly will.
Please.
Redline,
Yes.
Rotobeck,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for your information.
You're welcome.
Item number 7 is consider the resolution 2212 setting public hearing for special assessment for the ambulance services. I think each and every one of you were at the special service, you know where the city and the fire and ambulance and everything stands. The question is, Dan, do you have anything to add to this or?
Briefly, after that meeting, I did go before the LSW Fire Board, and they agreed to increase the wages for the EMT and medics starting July 1st. EMTs went to $16 an hour and the paramedics went to $19 an hour. For the July schedule, I now have 24/7 coverage for the whole month.
That's awesome.
So I also have additional EMTs and paramedics that actually want to come work for us.
Great.
So it seems like, we had to raise their wages because they weren't going to come in the door for that minimal amount that we had previously. So, but now we're funding it even though we don't really have the money for it unless this does get approved by the 3 entities.
But
I
it
should
sounds
say
good.
2 out of the 3 entities.
By the
because-
sounds of it, I think it will, but
I do too.
obviously we'll see.
And what concerns me though is Woodhull Township has a problem. In that they have no clerk and they have no treasurer as of tomorrow. They've got a lot of things going on internally, and so I'm hoping that Woodhull Township can also get that stuff out to their voters,
No,
information that's required by them to get it out.
Hmm.
I don't know what's gonna happen with them. The county has now put in a temporary clerk to help with the elections. But it's a mess over there.
And keep in mind that two identities, it passes.
Correct. 2 out of the 3 approve it, then it's passed. And then Woodhull Township will have to decide how they're collecting the money for.
so what I presented you with is different than what the problem is. So
Right.
you have to determine whether you want to address that issue, and if you do, then we need to follow this special assessment process, which we're on a really tight timeline in order to make it for November's ballot. So, I pulled out the, stuff from previous years. And, the difference, you'll hear people talk about that the township, they have like a special assessment meeting. And they either, get complaints or they don't, and then they pass it, but they have to do that every single year. We take it to the voters and we pass this special assessment, but we still follow the beginning part where we notify everybody in town what we're doing, why we're doing it, what the issue is. And then we vote it, we put it to our voters. And then the voters tell us yes or no, and if they say yes, we set it for a 10-year. And we charge it on the ad valorem taxable value, where the townships are charging it per household. But what the fire authority or ambulance is asking for is 2 mills based on your taxable value. So the fire department pays 1 mil on taxable value. All the entities do that the same. But we chose a few years back because we were challenged on our special assessment. And the attorneys advised us that the law nowhere states that you can do it based on per household, that it needs to be ad valorem. So if anybody asks you why we do it differently, this is my file from 2005 when we got challenged. And I have attorney notes and, yeah, I mean, you name it, newspaper articles, whatever. But I mean, I don't think we're doing, it's not wrong to ask the people by sending them a letter and having them vote it. It just really, it makes it,
I'd like to make a, attempt to get it passed, because if the 2 other entities pass it, then we've got to find a way to pay for it
Yep.
regardless.
and right now, and so that's the other piece that you need to understand is that if this does not pass, we still have the 1.1182 that we passed in 2015. So we still have a few years left on that one. So we would collect the 1.11, so we'd be short, almost a full mil. And we'd have to pay that out of our general fund if this does not pass. So
So what do you need from us to move forward?
there's a resolution before you to set a public hearing for the special assessment.
I'd like to make that resolution.
Motion to approve the resolution 2211, no, excuse me, 2212.
So what this will be is we'll have a public hearing at the next city council meeting, so tomorrow and the next couple of days, we're gonna be working feverishly to get a letter out to people telling them what we're doing. It has to go to every taxpayer in the jurisdiction. And then we also have to get it in the newspaper. The charter requires 10-day notice. Our city council is August 1st. We're cutting it pretty close.
Hey, and depending on feedback,
Yep, so that, I mean, I was given a 15-day window, so I think we're gonna be fine. So the public hearing will be set for in this resolution, August 1st.
is it gonna say date, time, and location in the
We
resolution?
will follow the law and put everything in there that is required.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we get 45 people showing up, there's not enough chairs.
So you want us to move it?
I don't know.
Well, that's a planned meeting that you know it's gonna be overcrowded. That's when you have to make that move. At this point, unless you have a petition for something, there shouldn't be 4 or 5 people. That's the way I see it. You know,
Well,
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that that's what the charter
We can
says. so-
move it, but then we may have to repost, so. So I gave you a little chart of how this is gonna work. If this passes, then we'll, the next step after that, you'll have a resolution. You do have one that I'm introducing on the ballot language. That will have to be passed at the August meeting in order to get it to the county on time to be on the November ballot. Because the cutoff date is, did I put it in here, 16th, I think, of August? So, and then after that, if it passes, then we have another public hearing and we're good to go. And our tax bills would go out a few days late because normally we mail our tax bills December 1st. City council meeting is December 6th or 5th, I think. So we would not mail our tax bills out until you guys have met and authorized the assessment.
So let's say you mail that letter out and you do get a bunch of people calling. At that point, there is an option of trying to move it to a bigger place. But if we don't get a bunch of people calling, nobody showing up.
Correct. If we get a bunch of calls, then, I mean, we could move the meeting and leave someone down here saying, hey, we had so many people, we had to move it to the fire hall. We could put a sign on the door. We could have somebody down here. I mean, there's ways to do it if we do. I mean, but if you guys want to move the location now, that's fine too.
I don't see a need, I'm just throwing it out there.
Definitely, if we get the.
We got
feedback.
150 people for a pot shop, nobody's gonna show up when we raise their taxes.
Well, it might save them a little tax money now.
I'm just saying.
People have their priorities.
Okay, that was, it's been motion and second and discussion, correct?
Yep.
All right. Why don't you go ahead with the paper?
All righty, Redline,
Yeah.
Rohrbach,
Yes.
Ducastle,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes. Resolution is carried. Item number 8 is introduce resolution 2213 adopting ballot proposal language, the special assessment for ambulance service.
So this resolution, would be, I don't really need you to act on it tonight. I'm just trying to explain to you what it is and what the option will be if we don't get a bunch of pushback, and you guys want to go ahead and put it on the ballot, then this will be passed at the next meeting. So this is the resolution to approve the ballot language. But I mean, it doesn't really make sense to approve the ballot language tonight.
Before it's approved to go on the ballot.
Correct. So,
As a wait till next month.
correct. So that's why, but I had that ready when I realized that we had to do everything else. And so I'm like, I might as well just at least give you guys the opportunity to keep looking at it. So,
Keeps it in the face.
and if you see anything wrong with it, let me know. this was, we were kind of crunching to get this in here after we were like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to do this, we're gonna have to mail that, so. Yep, so no action needed on that right now, just to let you know.
So that's why I like next month.
Yep.
Item number 9 is approval of the quote to modify the sound system for remote use.
I would just like to add that Dave has done everything possible to get more quotes, but they're not giving him quotes. Because normally we should have 3 quotes in front of us and we don't. But Dave has done everything he can to get 3 quotes and nobody wants to do the job, so. So just to explain why, we don't have 3.
Real popular, it's not something that.
Well, plus the other thing is the first
Yeah.
thought was we were gonna move it, bore, and do all these other things, and now we're trying to do a wireless
Correct. The
transmitter.
main base will stay.
So
where
it's gonna
at,
save us quite a bit
sub-base
of
will
money.
be
Yeah.
But you can operate it from here.
Correct,
That's the,
but it doesn't lose your sound, because we was afraid if we moved the whole unit over here, it was gonna interfere with how far you go with the wireless like that. Right. This way, everything will just be digitally talking back and forth between here and there.
And it was less labor expensive too.
Well, currently, it's set up on Wi-Fi and you have the rolling table, and then they hook up to a computer or whatever, for the
The
music or
main
something.
unit actually hangs in the wall.
Right. But that, we were using like a transmitter coming.
Correct, that talks to that antenna on top. of it.
Right. So now,
That's all
how
line
will
of
that
sight.
affect it?
Correct, it's all line of sight.
now we're
Where if
just
they moved over
upgrading.
here, it would have had to go up way higher, and I don't think that really detailed.
Okay.
Okay, so it won't be line of sight now?
No,
The-
that mobile unit will still be line of sight, the antenna will be there.
Okay,
But
We're-
our
we're
ability
adding
to
the sub
run it,
antenna here to
from
talk to
here.
that.
like to turn it on, to play the music,
So they can control it.
will not be line of sight. That will be like,
then, so it'll be on a
wireless.
computer, so somebody with a smartphone that's got access.
Correct.
could-
Turns it on,
Do-
turns it
Do
off.
we have a tornado warning on it?
Probably not.
no,
Turn the radio on,
Sure.
middle of the city.
You could kill
fire.
2 birds with that one.
there you go. We could probably play tornado warning music.
Play the Wizard of Oz.
Okay, well, you see that it's $8,500.
So what happens when it breaks? And it will.
What's happened so far?
Do we have a service agreement with them or?
The company, this company is the same company that services our computers now.
They're the ones that did all this and doing our
Okay.
IT for us.
All right.
But the sound system itself, we don't have an agreement
No.
anymore. It's older.
Old,
So
antiquated.
I hate to say it's so old that I'm still here since we got it, but. So am I.
No, I'm just saying, it's gonna break and who you gonna call?
Right.
Those-
You know, can we call Sheridan and Sheridan's gonna come out or are they gonna say, no, we just install, you gotta call Bob's Service Company in Idaho?
No, these guys have contacts. I mean, he's figured out who to call. He's dealt with these systems before. so.
Because it didn't say that before. so.
Make a motion to approve and move forward with it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other question or discussions on this? I will make note to you that regardless of what you do, there's about $30,000 invested into that sound system. So another $8,500 is just helping it magnify and not taking away from it. So
That's a lot cheaper than what was anticipated.
It is.
before. That was like so much more.
I think it's nice that you're not having to move the unit because the integrity of the unit, moving it might have been a problem.
I think it's gonna be a lot more difficult, for sure.
well, it sounds like will work out the way it is by remote. I mean, my goodness, I got a smoker that runs by Bluetooth. Can go downtown or anywhere else and set the heat and everything, and that's the way that thing will be. We'll be able to check its temperature internally, I'm sure.
Is it ever broken?
I don't think it's ever been broken. But then again,
You're talking about
hasn't
the
been
grill
played a
or the
whole lot
sound
either.
system?
So that's what's up, folks.
And roll call.
Yes, please.
Red line,
Yeah.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes.
Approval for the quote on sound system. Item number 10 is approval to pay the bills.
I make a motion.
Second it.
We have a motion to pay the bills and a second. Any discussion?
Redline.
Yep.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Newcastle,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Judd,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Culpepper.
Yes.
Good thing, 'cause you already signed all the checks.
No, not all of them. I didn't sign yours. I had to throw that in. You got one, none coming, I guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention. All right. The committee reports, and the first one I have on top is the library.
All right, so we put the new person on the committee tonight, so we talked about that. She did come and talk to us. We do have story time going right now. Because of the gas prices, the delivery of books increased. So you can see that we dropped down deliveries to try to keep that service, which I think was a good choice. Everything is revolving around the gas prices. I guess the best note of the meeting was that the Friends of the Library are going to start having, which is wonderful, because we really need that support. So besides that, I think that's, Yep.
DPW?
We discussed tonight at the meeting, what we discussed at DPW. We discussed the pole barn out in the park with the Lions, which they came and gave us a little background information today, and the sound system that we just approved. That was our action item.
Yeah.
So Alan, do you want to go again?
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
We'll
planning
just
commission-
reverse the order.
Planning commission.
Sounding
was
system nipple.
Canceled, so.
I'm looking at the state of Michigan Environment Great Lakes. Just telling us what were our lagoons.
So treatment's still working or?
Looks at this, looks like this monitoring results in a violation of your permit.
That's in regards to that phosphorus that we did all summer. More water to see through. The numbers back in line to where they're supposed to be. And our representative from Eagle, Brett Bodger, was also very much involved in this. He was out here on site with us. So.
Okay, so it's an ongoing problem that we've had all summer, basically.
Correct. It's just a matter of getting the system down the way we need it, and they're aware of it. And they've sent that out. I've already talked to Adam, and they're going to let it back before the deadline.
So what happened was that we've had the same requirements in our permit for years. When we discharge, we have to test our water, and the phosphorus was supposed to be below 1.
Below 1, and it's usually runs between 1.3 and 1.6.
But what was it in our old permit?
It was just a monitoring report.
Okay, so you didn't have to, you didn't
We
have
had to
to,
fit the guidelines.
right,
have a
and so
limit, yeah,
now, when we renewed our latest permit, now your phosphorus has to be measured and be below 1. So
No.
it's not an excuse. Other people are having the same issue, but city council needs to be aware that there is an issue and that we are working on it, but if, there might be some stuff that needs to happen. We just don't know,
So- Question on that, are we being dinged some money for this?
not right now,
Okay.
but if we don't get it corrected, we could. So, yeah, absolutely. I
What's the
mean,
cause of the phosphorus?
and that's what we don't
That's what
know.
they're trying
That's
to
one of the
find
things
out.
we're looking into is what's causing it.
No plumber here.
It's mayor's fertilizing his lawn. Pretty much.
So, one of the
That swamp
things,
grass grow.
so what we're,
It's not farm runoff. We actually looked into that.
what we're measuring is
Not
what's
fertilizer.
in the pond, what's coming out, okay? So we think it's starting coming in, so it's coming in somebody's drains, down their toilet, you know, whatever, it's coming in somewhere. Somehow or another it's getting into
Oh,
the
those
system.
fireworks on Crum Street.
Didn't you think it was?
I'm just kidding. I'm
School.
just kidding.
Well, we don't know. The first thing we're gonna do when I talk to Adam is we're gonna pull samples from our lift stations and try to locate what part of town it's coming.
So then we might be able to isolate where it's coming from.
Yeah, because initially when at DPW meeting, they said they thought maybe the schools.
Well, it was a possibility
Yeah.
of chemicals. We don't know what the school
Yeah.
is.
But Dave has been, you know, measuring it and, you know, dumping chemicals
You
in
know,
to no avail. It's not, you know, it's not taking care of the problem. So now we need to find out what's causing the problem.
Well, we had this about 10 years ago with pools, where you couldn't keep the algae off of them, no matter what you did. You dump in tons of chlorine and everything else and all that stuff to clear it. Didn't do any good. It just kept on molding and algae and stuff. So there's something to do with the weather too. It's gotta have something to do with all this junk. I'd say keep moving forward and keep it on top.
Hopefully it's something that's not coming off the newer liners that were put on there.
well, it's just a rat thing. There's.
Scientists and a plumber get together.
No, you're not understanding what's in the pond hasn't changed.
Correct.
Our requirements changed.
Got ya.
So Dave is saying that it's been 1 point
Yeah,
whatever.
we've been running probably 1.5 to 2 for decades.
For decades.
Correct.
And now they're saying
Now they're
you can only
probably
run one. So
Oh.
we're out of,
Fix it.
we're out of
You're saying,
standard now because
and they're telling
they set a
everyone
standard.
that. So
They changed their mind. That's what it boils down to.
Yes.
somebody somewhere the state
Kinda
We're not the
like
only
the
ones having the
emissions on
problem.
cars.
Other people.
decided that we
Everybody's
need
got
to
the
have a
problem, so
different
maybe
number.
that's why they did it. It's just to make sure everybody-
So, but I think that it's important that you guys are aware of this. If you get dinged or we have to spend money to fix it.
Yep.
You need to know that this is on the docket. So. And
Well, we really don't have a lot of
Phosphorus
choice, no matter what we have to do, you know, we got a lagoon system, we gotta maintain.
Laundry soap.
That's where it comes from, town tough.
Yeah, laundry soap.
so,
heard laundry stuff.
It's
Okay.
probably the softener.
We know it don't need any action on it, but you're aware of it, and we all need to be aware of it. They would keep us definitely up to date. Finance meeting,
Yeah, we didn't meet because the only agenda item was on the agenda council, the intent to issue bond.
okay. Police,
Got 12 reports, 3 accidents, 1 assistant. Shiawassee County Sheriff, 1 assistant, Ellis Duffy Fire, 1 aggravated assault, 1 assistant Clinton County Sheriff, 1 assistant Daystar. Looks like that. Improper vehicle registration and 3 city zoning violations. You got patrol miles of 1,249. Got 79 traffic stops, and the winner of that would be 33 traffic tickets and 46 traffic warnings for speed. Oh, I read that. 22 speed for 34 speed warnings. So,
most of it from on 4th of July.
One violation of the noise ordinance. Traffic or ticket written and fine levied of $10,000 on Crum Street. Is that it? 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, it was later than that. They were going off at 3 in
I'm
the morning.
so glad that I was gone on Saturday because I live on Crum Street.
They were
Well,
going
you
off
were the
at
culprit, you just said you were out of town, so don't go there.
They're just lucky that I was indisposed at the time. In the back there, the nice campfire going.
Yeah.
Well, how about the golf outing?
That'll be next Sunday. We only have slots for a couple teams left. Well, it looks like it's progressing, and that's for the firefighters association, which helps supplement the fire department's budget once in a while. What we're looking at purchasing now is actually an actual uniform, because t-shirts and jeans don't usually cut it for a funeral or a formal event. So we're looking at purchasing dress shirts, a badge, fire department badge, as well as pants to outfit the 22 firefighters.
We can't get swear fire.
Yeah, it doesn't go too well at a funeral, so.
Has a tendency to get a little
It's a little
warm.
heavy,
It's
isn't
just a
it?
little heavy, gets a little hot. So, and we're supposed to have good weather, so.
Supposed to be about 92.
Yeah, it'll be warm.
So, but, well, it's good that it's filled up or filling up.
Yeah, then I guess on the fire side, not a whole lot has changed. We're up to 326 runs for the year. Again, the ambulance was able to handle 3 calls so far that they've got today. Didn't have to go out on mutual aid. And the jurisdictions to our east is happy about that.
Yeah.
So.
I actually seen one of our ambulances going down the road.
That makes me so happy.
Yes, so, because again, we had the 3 options and we don't want to lose our ambulance, so.
Shutting it down is not a good option.
And not being
Nor-
shut down.
nor
is
is
not
hiring
option.
a,
That's.
Outside.
yeah, outside at Mercy wouldn't be a good idea.
I mean-
either. The response time is ridiculous.
We're not getting any younger.
Well, I know the last time that I needed an ambulance, and it wasn't that long ago, we were out of service and we had to wait for like 20-25 minutes for Perry to come. And they were on another call at the time.
And that was quick because some of the calls are 45,
Yeah.
45 minutes long.
That's why we can't afford to lose our ambulance service here. We're just too far out in the middle of nowhere not to have a service that
And
is
you're sitting there
functional.
with a heart attack going on, you can't wait.
Tell me about it. I've been on the floor twice.
Yeah, save these arguments for the public
Yep.
hearing.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, then, we got a training thing here.
This is just a option, and it's, I think it's all virtual. So this kind of introduces you to top. If you're just interested in what the RRC program does, you know, that we are involved in, and like, whenever we have new people come on, this might be something nice. But I think any of you going through it would be great too. It just talks about what we're trying to do about economic development and marketing and branding. And I mean, sometimes we have a lot of groups work in different directions, and we have plans and priorities that we have set that, you know, it'd be nice if we all kind of were working that same direction. And I think this program helps you like see that and develop relationships with professional services and other things that can help your planning, talk to your DDA, talk to your business association, you know, all of these things, talk about what the priority is for the community. So we have those laid out because we've went through this program, but I think learning what the background of this program is, you know, it's a good tool, and it's, I think, what, 6 of them, and they're virtual. So it's just a great idea if you guys want to do it. So.
So we just can get on and. it's
Yep,
free.
it says it's free.
Yeah.
Yep, so, I can, you know, forward the email if this doesn't work or something for you, on that code. And there's another one that I don't have in the packet, but I think Kim might be bringing it. I was gonna give it to the, planning commission too, but unfortunately I won't be able to go because somebody in their, wisdom planned this on August 2nd, and I'll be busy running an election. So this is about building codes for Main Street. So I think it just sounds like a great program. I can't remember if this one is free, but I think it is. It's just another great training opportunity, and I think that, you know, you guys have said you want to learn, so every time I see some good things, I try to
Thank you.
bring them your way. So, if you need help signing up for anything, or if they cost funds, we have training funds. So,
This looks like one.
I know,
I know,
when
it's
I
like,
first brought that up, I'm like, is that Lanesburg? But it really isn't, so.
No, but it's sure close.
Yeah.
And we did finally get awarded our grant for the Hafner apartment.
Oh, good.
So we actually have our grant agreement now, $184,000 grant from the MEDC for 2 downtown apartments. Yeah,
We definitely need them.
I was gonna say, that'll fill up in 2 seconds.
well, and then hopefully
we already
what that
full.
leads to is filling that commercial space, because
Mhm.
more people you get living downtown, and then if they get the funds from renting those apartments, then they might have money to help get a restaurant open again or something, so. And then in front of you is the coasters that you guys paid for the music and the movies, and everybody seems to really like them, so we went a little bigger this year, and I kind of like
Yesterday, I
it.
got a call and said, hey, there's a band going. I just got this thing in the mail. Are we going? But I couldn't, so they were really excited that they got this. I don't know where they got it from, but they got it.
They must, well, we put them in all the businesses, so, like, everywhere.
I hated it. I don't know where they got it, but they.
Well,
were-
I got more
he
in
said
there
he's
if you
got
guys wanna
one, and he
hand them
called
out
me
or you
all
want more or
excited,
whatever,
so.
but, they're at the Legion, they're at, I don't know if they got them in town or not. You took a lot of them for me, so they're all over. I mean, we put them in every, business, not just the ones who serve drinks. Cause sometimes the drinks munch the ink.
I actually have this taped on my advisor.
Yeah. We've got a lot, and we went to the clerks conference and we put
Give her one.
Yeah.
We put this in our basket, like Kim and I put together a basket for them to raffle off, and we put a couple of these in the basket. And the lady that got it, she goes, I'm taking that back to my council. She goes, that is such a cool idea. So it was kind of nice.
That's cool.
So
If I could get a few maybe for the.
I got
Yeah,
tons.
for the music this week,
Yeah.
because I know a couple people asked for them on Sunday.
And we got the soccer kids ready to do the movies this week. So sounds like
Cool.
farmer's market might move up here. Yeah, so.
I'm still doing the farmer's market. I'm just, Kayla Schaefer is kind of taking the lead on that kind of stuff. And she had switched it. So she's with the music right now, just so you guys all know. But
I just thought it might be something.
Oh, okay.
That's all. He said no, so that's- We ain't figured out what we're doing back there.
Anything else?
The trees are providing great shade.
You guys want to stay here all night or you want to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, this meeting's adjourned.